Okay, so we're back in the directory. Here's the image we resized. This is the one from last time. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so this is the one we just downloaded. Let's rename it Bailey 3 underscore 240. So it should be upright and a width of 240. I know I did it right because if I click on it, I can see these dimensions right here. So now we're going to copy that file to our demo website folder. Okay, so now that one has been resized. The first one is already 240. The second one is not. So let's resize that one to 240 as well. So we're walking through the process again. So let's go ahead and go to my resizer tool. So many of these going on. Upload the image. Bailey 2. Open. There it is. Look how cute he is. And we're just going to change the width, maintain the aspect ratio. We click resize. Notice that the new image is the size we wanted. We're going to download the image. Now we're going to go to our directory. I'm going to go ahead and find that in the downloads folder. I know it's the right one because I see the size. I'm going to rename it, and we're going to name it Bailey 2 underscore 240. Okay. Then I'm going to take that file and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to put it in my folder. So now I should have 6 images in my folder. Or 5 images, I'm sorry. Okay, so I want to go back to the code, and this is going to actually be something we can do rather quickly. Okay, back to my code. Here it is. Oh, there you are. You're hiding. Okay. So one thing that I notice is when you make the screen larger, they're all on the same line, and that's fine. I'm going to show you one new tag. There's a tag called the BR tag. And what the BR tag does is it just puts a blank line in. So after that first chunk of code, I want you to put BR. So it's like a break, and it will put a blank line between these 3 images and what I'm going to put down here. So what I want to do in this image resizing area is I'm going to add one more comment right underneath. Resizing, and I'm going to put all have width of 240. So we already know the first one has that width because we checked the picture out. So the easiest way to do this, again, like we know this all works right here. So all I'm going to do is copy those 4 lines, and I'm going to change what needs to be changed. So the first one's already 240 because that's what we found out when we checked it out. But for the second and third picture, we want to use the other versions of those pictures. So the ones where we resize them to be 240. So now what we should see is a second set of the same pictures, and they're going to look differently based on how we resized them. So here's the original. Now here's all the resized images, and you'll notice they all have the same width. So take that for what it's worth. You can play around with images as much as you want. There's a lot of other things that you can do with images. For web design, usually the width is the most important part in maintaining the aspect ratio. Okay, so that's it for now for images. We'll be coming back to that in a bit. Now we're going to move on to tables. So tables are kind of complicated, but they're actually pretty easy. So what am I talking about? I'm going to show you how to make a table like this in HTML. And we're going to use this as our little example, just so that we have something that's pretty easy to use. So we're going to start with going back to our tutorial and clicking on HTML tables. Okay, so this looks rather complicated, but you'll get the hang of it in a second. An HTML table is defined with the table tag. So you see a table tag here and here. Each table row is defined with TR. So TR stands for table row. So when I look at this code, if I wanted to ask myself how many rows in this table, I would say, well, here's 1 row, here's 2 rows, and here's 3 rows. There are special, inside of here, there are special tags, either tags indicating that these are the header cells. They will be bold. They are defined by TH. If it's just regular data cells, they'll be defined by TD and /TD, and they will not be bolded when you look at the table. So let's just go to try it yourself. And here's a different one we're looking at. So again, we start with the table tag. We are not going to include this part. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we have the header names, and we have the data that goes in the cell. So that's what we have. So let's go ahead and let's go back to the other one that I talked about. And let's see. Let's go ahead and steal. Let's just steal this code and copy it into our code under the table section. Now, I want you to first thing to do is get rid of this style width equals 100. All right. Now, if I go back to my image that I said we were going to use, I can see that I have, we're going to do this part of the table. We're not going to do this most popular pizza at this point. But we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. These will be header cells. So let's go back to our code. So I don't have three columns. I only have 2. So let's get rid of this. And the rest of these, let's get rid of the one before the close. If I look back at my picture, I have 2 columns. So there are, for every row, there's going to be 2 cells. 2 cells. So if I go back to my code, I have 2 columns. These are the headers that are in the first row. Now, what should follow is the 5 rows of data. Those are TD cells. So we have to specify the next row. Let's get rid of the 3rd cell. So the next row is going to have 2 cells. Let's go ahead and just do the header cells. Let's go back and look at the columns are titled type of pizza and number of boats. So we need to change the first header cell to type of pizza and the second one to number of votes.